Today, LSU lost a tiebreaker, and Jay Clark gave an explanation, and we're going to discuss that. Olympic floor medalist Anna Barbosu made her NCAA debut, and we're going to talk about all the Gymternet news and NCAA news, and answer a few of your questions. Today is January 13th, 2026, and welcome to the number one gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jessica, and I'm here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation. Let's begin with the headlines.
Sure. It's a good place to start.
Yeah, so there was the Sproutsness.
The Sproutsness, a college meet where like good teams get together and have a meet, and then Sprouts is like, we're the sponsor, So it's the Sprouts Quad.
It is a podium meet, which we call January Nationals, and last year Oklahoma won, and this year they won again by tiebreaker, and then they won NCAA. So of course, if history holds,
okay,
Oklahoma
so that's what this
again.
this is Nationals.
Yeah,
but did they wear like a white Leo with what are your other curses that have to happen?
That tie-dye one didn't even curse them, so they're uncursable.
Okay, so Oklahoma's uncursable.
Yeah,
but what about your head coach curse? They couldn't replace KJ and win, right?
No,
that's what
if they replace KJ
forever, yeah,
right. They will never win again. This is the rule because that still hasn't been broken. But So let's talk about LSU, why they lost the tiebreaker, and what happened with Lexi Zeiss's routine.
Yes, this meet delivered the drama we were looking for basically pointless January competition, because we had to have there was a trophy that we had to award, so we had to figure out who you got the trophy with the spinning part in the middle. So it's a good one because it moves. So it's like already top 10% trophy. So basically the meet was ending. Oklahoma was done. They finished on floor. LSU was done. Connor McLean had anchored their beam lineup, but we were still waiting for Connor's score. Oklahoma was ahead, but we were like, Connor had I'm getting the rest off routine. She was like, I don't struggle with an aerial. I'm Connor McLean, but was like wobbling all over the place. We knew that routine wasn't going to score the way high enough to count for LSU. So we were like, okay, the meet is done. We're waiting for them to figure out Connor's start value because she didn't, get all her connections. But, Oklahoma won. Then the scores come up and it's tied. And we're like, wait, what happened? Because there's no way Connor's score would have been high enough, which it wasn't. But the issue was Lexi Zeiss's beam routine earlier in LSU's lineup. And we saw Jay Clark arguing with the meet referee and doing a lot of pointing. And there was a lot of stern talking happening in this conversation. And it was very stern. And I think the comment, like John and Allie and Sam kind of thought they were talking about Connor's routine at first. They were talking about Lexi Zeiss's routine, which did have a start value issue originally that was resolved. And so her score was raised, and it was raised into a tie. But we later found out in Jay Clark's press conference that he was still kind of like not happy about what was going on there, because I listened to what he said, and I'm fascinated by this, because he said that the score was originally flashed as both judges had a 10-0 start, and it was a 9.875. And then one judge lowered their start value
after it was flashed, which you can't do.
You're not allowed to do unless there's an inquiry. And then the score was lower, and then Jay put in an inquiry, or LSU put in an inquiry on the start value, and then it was raised back up, but it wasn't raised back up to the original score. If that's what happened, a lot of rules are being broken. But that's also not what it looked like in Verdi. It was never entered into Verdius as a 9.875. It started as a 9.775, then it went up to a 9.8, and then it went up to a 9.85, which was the final score that it was given. So we never saw this 9.875 on Verdius. Maybe it was flashed in the arena. I don't know. But if what Jay described happened, I'm like, oh, you're not allowed to do any of that.
Right. And the thing is,
I guess maybe the judge, sometimes there's a score flashing or a score entry issue. Like if the judge is like, oh, actually, the score flasher made a mistake, or I wrote down a 9.9 start and you just put it in wrong, then you can change and be like, oh, that was actually, this is the score I gave. You can do that.
And it's interesting that I can see, sometimes you have a volunteer that's flashing the scores.
Right. And they
can make a mistake.
People make mistakes. Yeah.
Which he also gave an allowance for. And the thing is that the double Wolf turn, he said the inquiry was that it was only given 1/10 for a D instead of 2/10 for an E, and that they won the inquiry, but then those 2/10 were never given back. So, but
they were given back. She got a 10-0 start.
Right, but he's saying he never saw that. What he is saying is that
Okay.
he never saw the start value go back to a 10. It was never raised back to a 10. But in Verdius, it was. The official
I thought
record,
he was saying
it was.
What I thought he was saying, and that was one of the main things where I was like, you can't do that, is he was saying the judges put the start value back up, but didn't raise their final score accordingly. Then changed their execution deductions after the fact, which is something you're not allowed to do.
Right. That is what
Anyway, who knows what actual... It's one of those things where you're like, who knows who flashed what and who entered what at certain times. You never really know, like, what happened. But either way, I was like, all of these scores are too high. So... I was like, when Jay was saying at the beginning of his answer, like, and the first judge flashed a 9-9, which is what I thought that routine should get. I was like, Jay, this is the problem. You can't drink that Kool-Aid because then you get to nationals and that routine gets a 9.75 and you're all mad. Don't drink that 9-9 Kool-Aid now. It's January. You gotta wait.
But as we have said, the coach's main job is gaslighting. So if you don't have the booty for it, you have to just say it in a press conference.
Anyway, what Jay was saying was if she had got the 9.875, if Lexi Zeiss had gotten the 9.875 that he said was originally flashed, LSU would have won the meet. But in reality, they went to a tiebreak. They were tied with Oklahoma. They went to a tiebreak where you count 6 scores, like in the postseason. You count the dropped falls or dropped scores, and Oklahoma won on the tiebreak.
Yeah. But I feel like LSU lost it on beam. For sure. Like they had 2 routines that had a lot of mistakes in them. And so I felt like, the tie was sort of a surprise to me, and I felt like Oklahoma won. Which was also surprising to me because I was like, it's Lexi Zeiss and Connor McLean. Like, this is not what you expect from them. But it's the first meet of the season. Exactly. It doesn't matter. But right now, Florida...
But it does because you might lose on a tiebreak and need to get your 9.875. This is all we're looking for from college gymnastics at this point. Because you're like, I'm so already score exhausted that I'm just like, I want silly tiebreak drama. I want question, This is
why they need to make it more fun and have like a big, I don't know, like a silly string that you wave like you have for a cat to chase around when you want to put an inquiry in. Something big and dramatic and goofy.
That sounds annoying.
I
do not support the proposal. Nay, I vote against.
Does the tiebreak impact NQS?
No, it's just your score. None of this matters. It's just like a little trophy.
Right. It's a meaningless tiebreak.
And bragging rights and like feeling special.
Sprouts can't afford 2 trophies. So
didn't Michigan also get a trophy for other session?
But I think that's why it was like each session.
Oh yeah,
you can't take
because
Michigan didn't win overall, although they did great. Yeah. But
Quincy Walters, we got to talk about Quincy Walters.
Yes.
She was really good for Michigan.
Florida is ranked number 1 right now. And we'll go into all of that later and talk about Utah. But we did do a college and cocktails.
We do we do have to do our NCAA news, but we had to get in. There was a tiebreak drama first of all.
Because it's the most important thing that happens.
It's the most important thing.
NCAA Gymnastics always delivers. Okay, we have some updates for you before we get to the Gymternet news. So, Spencer, college and cocktails was so fun this week. We had such a good time.
I'm glad you liked it. No, I did too. I had a good time.
It was a really good one.
It feels like it's a good environment to get our thoughts and frustrations about college gymnastics, just that you immediately get it out of your system, and then it's like a healthier way to go on with your day.
Yes.
Even if you're like, what is happening? What is this? What is this score? You just get it out of your system, and then you're like, okay. It's basically it's college gymnastics therapy is what it is.
Group therapy.
Like college gymnastics group therapy all together after the meet. So this week, Friday, January 16th, college and cocktails, we're going to do it at about 7:45 p.m. Pacific time-ish after Oklahoma, Missouri. So we're going to talk about that. Oklahoma, Missouri, the top 2 SEC finishers at nationals last year, 1st and 3rd place. So we're kind of like, are they the new Alabama, Georgia. I mean, it's not yet, but we're trying to make that happen.
Yes,
we're like,
we're trying.
Shannon and KJ get into a fight. This is all we want. Yeah, this is what we're looking at. So this week's cocktail is called the Angry Beam. Full menu is in the forum. Did I say bean? I meant beam.
Everybody knows. They would translate in their head to beam. Angry beam, which is, yes.
It's not one angry beam. Other things to know, live show replay with Cecile and Levi. You can still get those tickets, and you can buy your live show season pass for Club Gym Nerd members. That's 4 live shows for the price of 3, available for a limited time for your 2026 live shows. You can join that club at the Join the Club tab at gymcastic.com. We're in our 3 podcast era for college gymnastics season. So we have the main show, we have College and Cocktails, and we have a fantasy podcast every Wednesday and a fantasy league, which you can join at any time, or just listen to the fantasy podcast if you want us to tell you who's doing well in college gymnastics right now, because you want to see the names that maybe there's not like a big story we're going to talk about on the main show, but it's like, she has a really good beam and got a 9925. That's where we talk about that. So make sure you've signed up for all of our newsletters, our regular weekly newsletters, the fantasy newsletter, 5th rotation, where Fact Checker pops off sometimes, and it's great.
Yes.
And we have merch.
Hey, thank you so much. And I hope you guys enjoy the merch, because you want everybody to know that you're a gymnastics fan. Wherever you go, wherever you roam, you can rep gymnastics and GymCastic if you want. Gymternet news. Oh, man. Romania is just plumbing the depths, is basically what's happening.
Okay.
Romania.
If there's more depths?
I know. I
thought we had hit what's the lowest level of the Earth? I was going to do a reference, like a geology reference, and I couldn't think of the lowest level of the Earth's core, and I wrote everything. Anyway. Yeah.
The core, they hit the lava center of the magma.
Or full magma. Yeah.
They were like, who coached in the Soviet era of Eastern Blockness? That's who we want. So Nikolai Forminte, 69 years old, has been appointed the coordinating coach of the Romanian women's artistic gymnastics team. So you'll remember this name from
his previous tenures as the head of the Romanian women's program, which was, so this was post Belu and Bitong, like after the 2004 Olympics. I feel like that was his first tenure in charge. And then again in 2016 type era. So it's kind of the normal process for Romanian gymnastics, which is, let's call up the person who had this job 2 times before, which they did with Octavian Belu a few times. Like, he was always retiring and then coming back. Yeah.
So Romania was like, let's go backwards to when we didn't have a team at the Olympics, essentially, is how I'm interpreting this. Chow's is facing more lawsuits. Chow's everybody knows Chow's from coaching Shawn Johnson to Olympic gold, coaching Gabby Douglas to her first Olympic gold. And so 3 former students are suing Chow's in Iowa. The lawsuits are against the former coach, Sean Gardner, Chow's, and the U.S. Center for SafeSport. The former students say Gardner sexually abused them and harassed them. And the biggest thing about this is that this was preventable and there were known complaints. And this is the whole reason that SafeSport was invented, to prevent this kind of abuse, because he gym hopped. So we will follow that closely and tell you what's happening. You guys know how much I love adult gymnastics, and I recommend it to everyone for your health and fitness and fun. And now there's a book about that.
Broken to Unbreakable, the comeback I never saw coming, follows gymnast Lori Volkomer from a spinal fracture that ended her career as a teen to a second fracture that brought her back into the gym and competition at 49. Her first fall took away the future she imagined in the sport. The dreams were gone, but the what-ifs stayed. Decades later, after weathering personal storms and that second spinal fracture at 47, Lori chose to do something radical. She walked back into the gym, not as the kid she once was, but as the woman she'd become. In her story, you'll see how the tools we learn in gymnastics, falling, getting back up, trying again, can rebuild a life far beyond the mat. You'll finish this book believing in comebacks in a way you didn't before. Olympic medalist Chelsea Memel calls it a powerful testament to resilience and courage, turning setbacks into comebacks. Get Broken to Unbreakable by Lori Volkomer on Amazon or wherever you buy your books. And remember, you're never too old and it's never too late.
Let's discuss what happened in the NCAA news this week. It's the first real full week where everybody competed. We had our let's have a New Year's party and then see if you can stay alive 2 days later.
Which seems did better than expected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some teams did better than expected at that and then had a problem this week, like Utah.
Yeah, I was so shocked about Utah.
But then they had another meet on Monday and they kind of pulled it back. But they got a 197. So, don't go panicking about Utah.
Yes, they had 3 falls on beam. Their lowest beam score since before you were born.
But not before I was born.
Oh, older! You're getting older every year, Spencer. I can't keep up.
Aging. It's terrible.
I know. I always think of you as the same age, but anyway, it's been a long time since that happened to Utah. Which we were like, "What's?" I literally was like, "Something's wrong with the podium because this doesn't have its lowest beam score in 26 years."
Oh, bless you for thinking I wasn't born yet.
All right, the top teams: Florida.
Florida's at number 1. Oklahoma and LSU are tied for second, but also apparently not because of the trophy. Oklahoma's in second. They both got a 197.5, so they're in second. 4th place is Alabama, who had a very strong, their Alabama's highest first meet score ever.
Yeah, Alabama.
It's Alabama. So it's not like, all right, like when it's like Clemson set a program record and you're like, you were like a day old. That's not like a thing.
This is, I mean, literally, isn't it like Clemson's 3rd year?
Yeah, it's their 3rd year.
Yeah, which is like, you're barely alive.
So this week they got their 5th highest score in team history, and I'm like, great, but also like you're brand new. But Alabama, highest first meet score ever, and then Michigan in 5th. Very strong comeback from last season to win that second session. Miley Caneva was like, you know what I do? Coach Beam. So you know what we're going to be good at? A beam.
Mm-hmm. And that is how they won.
Rotation. I mean, the score is obviously insane, but it was a very strong rotation.
Yeah. It's interesting that, I mean, I feel like the scores are still way too high, but they are actually, no one has scored a 198. The highest score this season has been Florida's 197.725. Oklahoma only got a 197.5.
I know.
LSU.
Everyone's a disappointment is what I'm learning. We've only had 110.
Alabama.
Yeah, we're not on pace for like the craziest season. It's just regular type.
Which is great. I'm very interested in Alabama, very interested, and Michigan, because Michigan has a former Oklahoma gymnast head coach now, and that's going to make a difference because I feel like they have all the secrets. And Alabama.
Miley Caneva's been there for a while. You think she had secrets that she was like holding back from Bev?
Yeah, because when you are not the head coach, you don't get to do all the things that you want to do. Yeah, so you can be like, we should change this and we need to do this. And it's not the gymnastics, it's all the other stuff. And let me tell you, the frustration of the assistant coaches is real.
There's a round table episode right now.
Woo! Yeah, for sure.
Assistant coaches, what do you want to complain about?
Yeah, where should you start? Where do you want to start? Okay, so let's talk about Florida in number 1.
Yes, because we went into pretty solid depth on Oklahoma and LSU's performances on College and Cocktails because the Sprouts Quad was our main focus meet. But I want to talk about Florida in first place, number 1. Some big deals happened in that meet. Kayla DiCello, we saw compete for the first time since 2024 trials, even longer as a college gymnast. But she did vault, bars, and beam. Skye Blakely competed floor for the first time since 2024 U.S. Championships and competed beam and floor as a college gymnast for the first time ever because she was freshman at Florida last year. She only did bars. This past elite season, she was bars and beam. Now we also saw floor added into the mix. I'm still like writing down Skye Blakely Chung NCAA on a piece of paper and just throwing it into the wind because that is something that works. Because that works.
Yes.
And that's something I would like to see happen as soon as possible. That would be great. Scoring first meet assessments, I guess, for Florida. Your thoughts? Or you can defer to me because I have thoughts if you would just like to defer.
I was very distracted by how bad the commentary was, so we'll discuss that later.
Okay. Yeah. It made it difficult to notice routines.
Yeah. But I thought like, oh, I was like, they have so much talent on that team. So much.
Yeah.
And I thought like, okay, they are in a good position. I'm not worried about Florida.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
Well, okay, but I mean, you're not worried, meaning what? You're not worried that they're going to be bad this season?
Yeah, like I'm not worried that they're going to have. Yeah, I'm not worried they're going to be bad. I'm not worried that people are falling apart. I'm not worried. Yeah, in general, I feel like they're where they should be. It's like clean up landings, be confident. Yeah, did they look like they could win NCAAs? I never know because they look like they could win NCAAs all the time, and then they never put it together at NCAAs. They'll have like a great first day, and then the second day they don't. So, yeah. But then that's always how, the opposite last year. But LSU was like that for 50 years, and then one time everybody was hurt and they won, and they did put it together.
In the semifinal, and LSU won.
And that's all they needed. So you never know.
Yeah. That is the thing. And I think it's going to be very interesting to watch with Florida because you look at the lineups that we saw and the roster, even before that, but now we saw it in practice. And
adding MJ Frazier, who's transferred from Cal, adding Selena, who was there last year.
She was there last year, but yes.
But still.
MJ and Skye, Kayla, but MJ, Kayla DiCello being back, Skye having more events. So it's like you have quite a few new routines, even though we barely saw the freshmen. They have a lot of new stuff. And like on paper, they need to win nationals. And I think that the conversation for Florida, there should be a little more pressure put on Florida to say, you need to actually like win the championship with this roster. And second place, like it's harsh, but I don't care about being harsh, right? Second place is a loss for Florida this season. And I don't know if it's probably not healthy to actually think that way if you're the gymnast or you're the team yourself, but second, third place is not a win for this roster. You need to win nationals, and it's been a while for Florida. So in terms of the way I'm thinking of it, I'm like, yeah, those lineups are amazing. And you need to be actually able to translate that into winning in April. Can you? I don't know. We haven't seen it in the Jenny Rowland era that they can translate that into winning, but it needs to be. I think the hardest thing, imagining, because can you, if I were ever a college coach, the qualifications are not in place, but I think it would be very difficult to manage such a deep team because there are people like, we talked about this last year too, but when Riley McCusker anchored the beam lineup this week and had a big wobble and scored like a 9-5. And I'm like, how do you explain to your super talented former elite, who's maybe like the seventh beamer on this team and an alternate for that lineup, that even though you hit in the gym every day, I'm not putting you in the beam lineup because we need Riley to become comfortable enough to hit at nationals in order to win. I think that's a really difficult thing to manage interpersonally. And I don't know. I want to give you a chance. You want to give everyone a chance and make them feel like their hard work is being rewarded. But then you're like, there are certain people you have to have in that lineup, and it kind of shouldn't matter whether they're falling because you need to get those falls out of the way so you can get them to hit in April.
I think really it depends on the team because the team might be all for that. Like I will do whatever I have to do to be the one that contributes to us winning. So if that means I don't do beam, but then you can also have a team dynamic where you have the diva dynamic, which is what I love and what we as gymnastics fans
they're the most fun to watch.
They're the most fun to watch. But are like, give a shit. My NIL money is on the line and you're hurting my ability to make money here. And I'm better than them. I don't care. You're hurting my opportunity. So it depends. And I feel like this is why all the coaches from the very beginning are like team, buy in to avoid that kind of thing. But then
culture, team culture, sisters, sisterhood. We're all here for each other. Link arms, one another. We're here, right? We love each other.
We brush each other's hair and everything's going to be fine. So, but yeah, that mentality.
But anyway, that's just what I'm watching this year for Florida because they have all the pieces. They have everything they could need gymnastically to win a national championship. They have.
I am watching basically Owen's pants because why was Jenny, the head coach, wearing the metallic silver spacesuit pants, but Owen wasn't? This doesn't make any sense.
So student sport couture is over.
Yeah, it's gone. I was like, wait,
done.
What happened?
Jenny's wearing sparkly pants.
Silver pants. Which had to be so hot. I mean, maybe that's why Owen didn't wear them. But I was like, if you want the ass lighting to work on bars, then Owen clearly needs to wear those pants. Also, when are they going to change this rule about the coaches standing there in the judge's way on dismounts? Because now the coaches are just standing on the podium the whole time, not even pretending to spot on bars. And if I was the judge, I would be like, you stand at the end of the mat. If you're going to spot, and then move to the end of the mat. This standing there like you're going to rush in and grab someone if they fall is some bullshit. Because there's like 2 coaches in the whole world that can cover that distance and save someone if they ping off. It just doesn't happen unless you're actively spotting. So anyway, I want safety, and I also am like, you need to...
But what do you say when a coach is like, do you hate safety? Because it sounds like you hate safety.
Then you say, you can stand on the other side. But everybody has their spotting side. That's the problem.
And also the other side, there's also a judge on the other side too.
Yeah, well, I know. If that's
you could always block someone.
I mean, the judges...
Do you think, what a Bards coach should do is be fully ambidextrous spotter so that you can pick which judge you think is the meaner one, like which judge you know, and be like, oh, I'm going to ass like that judge so she can't see the dismount hop.
I just feel like you should have to stand away from the view. There should be lines where coaches have to stand, and when you're done spotting, you have to move out of that line. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anywho, okay. The other thing we have to talk about is that Florida has, I am very confused about this because it seems to be a commercial that Wells Fargo paid for that's 15 minutes long. It's
You mean it feels like watching present day network television?
Yeah.
You're like, is there any show anymore? Or is it just
Are you just putting a sponsored drink in front of you and saying words? Is that what's happening? I was so excited about this.
I wish I had. I only have a glass in front of me. I wanted a sponsored drink. Where was my Huel to pull up? I didn't have it sitting next to me to pull up while you said put a sponsored drink in front of me.
I love my vitamin water, 50 cents. I think you're doing great documentary work. Would you like to sponsor us? I can just say platitudes for 15 minutes. How would you describe this documentary?
Yeah, so it is a 15-minute commercial that Florida put out called, what is it? Unresistible? That's not a word. Unbreakable? Something like that.
Disappointing is what I remember.
Okay, but we always say you need to win the marketing game, right? You got to put in the work to market your program. This is winning the marketing game because this is another 15-minute commercial for Florida Gymnastics, basically, is what this documentary was. Like, nothing happens. No one really says anything, but like everyone seems nice. And like, if I were a sophomore in high school, I would see all of the team members hanging out in the kitchen of their apartment that they have. And I would be like, I want to go to there. That seems fun. And that's what this is for.
Right.
Not for me.
And I think as recruiting material, if for like a middle schooler, then
you would be like, this seems so fun. And then me, I'm like, where was the scene where you meet with all the gymnasts individually in your hotel room to tell them whether they're going to make the lineup or not, like Suzanne did in the Georgia documentary back in the day. You got to do that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, my favorite part of it was
you think you should be in the lineup?
We'll
That's the
never
best
get another
question.
documentary like
We'll
that.
never
It
get
was
another.
So
do
good.
you think you should be in the lineup?
How do you feel about yourself? Do you deserve to be here?
And do
That's
it
really
on camera.
On camera, right? And
how do you feel about yourself on camera?
And we're not taking it out. If anyone's upset or no, we're leaving it in there. It's the best. It's the best one. My favorite part was just MJ, who's been there for like 5 minutes, just saying platitudes that made no sense. Because I was like, wait, what has Florida done that no one else has ever done? What's unprecedented? I couldn't think of anything except they have had 2 gymnasts who have gotten a 10 on every event. That might be the thing. But I was like, other teams have one more. Other teams, they did have basically the entire world team except for Arkansas. Yeah, this year, that's a first. Yeah. But none of that was explicitly.
And Dulcie is committed to Florida. She's not
committed. She's not there, and she's saying she's not going to go till after LA 28. But yeah, 2 members from the same team. That's yeah. There have been Olympics with 2 gymnasts from the same NCAA team at an Olympics, but they weren't concurrently on the college team at the same time.
Or they hadn't gone there yet.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking like Mohini and Kate.
Sydney,
or Kayla and Koshin were post, but not after.
Right, and most of the Sydney team went to UCLA after the 2000
that's
Olympics, true. But that was,
Yeah. So anyway, the point of this.
the point of this is the point of most of these things, which is everyone saying this team's really special, and the thing that makes it special is the thing that literally every other team says, but that also makes them special.
Right. So it was disappointing, I would say. Like, I'm glad.
It's whatever.
I'm happy that they got money from a bank to make a commercial. Like, good for you. Get money out. All the money you can get out of the banks.
I'm glad you got money from a bank.
I wish we were getting that. But
Must be nice.
There are gymnasts with such amazing stories and who have real things to say on that team. And we didn't see any of that. And that's unfortunate. And I think that's also the difference between making when the sponsor dictates what you do versus like us, we're independent. Our Club Gym Nerd members are the ones that pay for our work. And that makes a huge difference in what kind of support and, Anyway, I hope we get more realness. Also, they didn't show the dorms. They showed the nice apartments. They didn't show those dorms that are like the underground bunkers of painted brick that are the regular dorms. Like where Morgan Hurd lived and Victoria Wynn, their entire college. Yeah. They're not.
Some of them have to be in like real dorms, like normals, like me had.
Yes, the ones that, oh God, the dorms. This is why I only lived in dorms once. Because I was like, absolutely not. I'm not going to live
I only lived in dorms with roommates when it was mandatory, obviously.
Oh, God. Yeah.
A single was the life.
Yeah, nobody gets a
in
single.
A dorm. That's the life. Because you don't have to be in charge of yourself still.
Unless it's one of those.
Pay rent. That's already part of the tuition. That's
the
done.
Dorms at my school, the second one that I went to, were filled with black mold and literally had to be blown up. But they let everybody live in them until they blew them up. Anyway. So anyway, never trust a dorm. So I hope we get more out of this series and it gets more real and we get some of the less platitudes. Okay, who scored a 10 this week? We only have 1 10 and it's week 2. What's happening? Are the
That's
judges
better than
okay?
last year. We had to wait longer for Helen Who's 10 last year. And by better, I mean in quotes, because I think there should be 2 10s a season total.
Yeah, obviously.
Avery Neff on vault got a 10, stuck her Yurchenko 1.5. I think our general impression is like, I'm not mad at this as a 10.
Yeah. The open hips are what do it for me. I'm like, actually, like, I think her legs are straight and her hips are open the whole time. And I am totally like, I'm not, this isn't an egregious, she might have a little shoulder angle on the actual table. But in terms of like what
we're not saying it's an FIG 10 in execution, right, but on the scale of college 10s, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Also,
one thing to watch though, Avery Neff did not get the beam combination at the Monday meet. because we've been talking about this beam combination,
yes.
the aerial to 2 feet,
yeah,
then the quarter turn Shushinova, and it's really hard to not move that foot in between because you're about to do a skill with a quarter turn, and so you can't start the turn on the beam because then that's a foot movement adjustment to break the connection. She didn't get the connection on Monday. So we're going to watch that space because we love this combination because it's not the same thing every single other person is doing on beam, but also we're worried that it's maybe not the best idea to get a score. So very interested to see what her beam looks like next week and if they're like, oh, okay, we can't do it anymore.
I'm wondering, like, what I would do is I would have her go on beam. You're going to do a whole rotation where you put your feet in different positions and you just have to jump from there. She doesn't get to decide. Like, as a coach, I'd be like, okay, your feet landed, you landed your 2-foot aerial like this. They're sideways and 1 foot's a little off, and you have to jump without adjusting your feet to your Shushinova from here. Now you landed perfectly straight. Now you landed a little bit off. Now you landed with 1 foot turn and 1 foot straight. Because it's that trying to get both her feet in the same position. That's the whole thing about the adjustment deductions. Which on the one hand, I like because it really distinguishes a 10. When someone lands perfectly and jumps perfectly every time, any kind of little foot wiggle, piggy wiggles, no piggy wiggles. That's also an deduction. But
that's what it says in the code. Piggy wiggles. Yeah.
Piggy wiggles. Okay, let's talk about the 9975s because
you can say there's only been 110, but we're throwing out the 9975. So on vault, Paige Zancan at Auburn,
obviously.
Hannah Horton, Missouri, Ashley Glynn, Utah got 9975s. Bars Azarea Akbar, very first routine at Alabama, got a 9975.
Oh, so excited.
Selena Harris on beam got a 9975, and Cecilia Cooley of Denver on floor got a 9975, which was a significant result score because they were behind Stanford, and then she got the 9975 on floor, and that bumped Denver ahead of Stanford. So it was like a shocking thing for college gymnastics where we had our tie at Sprouts. We had like only it came down to the last routine between Stanford and Denver. That was fun.
Azariah, I'm so excited. You remember she was a U.S. elite and then she went and competed for Canada, and she's so good. Like, I really am like, Alabama. This might be a year that they actually finally get back there.
I felt like watching Alabama, there were fewer routines because Alabama's always good, but then it would come down to the last maybe decade or so, I would say, it comes down to directly comparing them against your Florida, now your Oklahoma in the SEC. And then when you look at them side to side, they're just like that split position that's a little not quite there, that leg separation. I was glad the commentators this week talked about Gabby Gladio really working on the leg separation on her full in. And it's like, yeah, that's the kind of thing, that was exactly the kind of thing that was the separator between Alabama and winning. Which was, but like you really need to take for that leg separation, or you did a split jump and it wasn't awesome, so we need to like deduct the comparison. I saw fewer of those in this first meet. The fewer built-in things. They had errors, they had wobbles, big lunges on vault who didn't. But I was like, okay. I feel like
the thing that stands out to me with the former Cal coaches now at Clemson, Justin and Liz, and with KJ at Oklahoma is like, the specific details, the little tiny details are worked on so much. And at this level, like, all these gymnasts are level 10s and elites, and they can do all these skills. They've been doing them since they were in grade school, a lot of them. But have you ever really done your layout step out with pointed toes from the time you push off the beam all the way through when you land? It's like the little precision, the landings, are your feet glued together when you do your full in, like, those are all deductions, and you've just been doing your skills, but now you have to do them absolutely perfectly and like spending time on that stuff. You can tell because the skills are so pretty. And like, look at Addison Feta. This is the best gymnastics she's ever done this year, like, period, without question. And it's because, like, one thing, you don't have to try to kill yourself all the time doing the elite skills and the elite schedule, but it's that time to focus on the specific things. And I'm like really enjoying watching her. Okay.
Which is supposed to be the point of college gymnastics, as separate from elite in the present day way they're constructed, where elite, you're upgrading. You have to you have a really good Yurchenko full. Well, that needs to become a double full. so that you can be competitive. Whereas let's perfect the thing you're already really good at, and so that everyone can see it in its best possible way, is the ideal of college gymnastics. And sometimes when the scoring is too loose, people get away with more things and we lose that ideal. And that is one of the things that why Jessica and I get so frustrated about the scoring. It's not just, oh, that score was too high and I want it to be lower. It's you're losing the point of this as a specific discipline within gymnastics, separate from an open-ended code elite gymnastics.
Yes. Oh, one thing I want to mention, we already talked about vault. There is, I feel like it's becoming a really big deal to do double twisting Yurchenkos, and double twisting Yurchenkos have been done for 30 years in college gymnastics, but we haven't seen as many because people have been, I think, focusing on doing the perfect 1.5 for the 10-0 value. So we had one from Auburn this week.
Sophia Bell.
Yep, Sophia Bell, and it was pretty good. It's a pretty good one. I saw some discussion, people being like, this, double twisting Yurchenko should always beat like a handspring front. And I'm like, no, I would, to your point, I want to see that perfect, gigantic, huge Sage Kellerman level handspring front pike that is just perfect and is so pretty and is like the exceptional, I didn't know it could look like that, more than a Yurchenko double full. I mean, if it's a EB level, Elizabeth Price, Stanford, 2000 whatever year that was, doing the highest, most perfect.
It's the elite brainworms.
Then I'm like,
D score is queen. And there obviously has to be a balance. I don't want people to do things that are too easy for them and get 10s, because it is like when we see people who've been elites and then they go down to college, this beam routine's really easy for you. But that's also why we need to see it be perfect, because we know that like you can do an aerial walkover. We know. And I know you can do it with extended front knee. I know you can. So I'm going to expect you to do it.
Yes. That's why I'm waiting for
Not that it's easy, but it's easy for you. So do it.
Okay. Our favorite things this week. Let us begin.
Some good stuff. We need to have our favorite things segment each college week where we get to remember why gymnastics is silly. And number one, I want to talk about Cadence Gormley at Kentucky, who won the Save Award, who went full Ashikawa Urara on beam on her front aerial. She wobbled for, I timed it, 6 seconds from start to finish. This wobble took 6 seconds, and she stayed on the beam. She fought the imaginary bats for like way longer. One of the longest fights of imaginary bats I've ever seen that was successful, and actually ended up keeping it on the beam.
This is really amazing. This is why gymnasts are insane. Stayed on.
More people needed to applaud after that save. There's like one coach in the background giving that a round of applause, and I'm like, that should have been standing ovation.
It's also just like she wobbles sideways with her center of gravity like 3 feet away from the beam for so long. Like normally when you see this, someone eventually their feet just slip out from under them.
There's no way you should be able to stay on a beam.
No, like she's amazing. Like this is, okay, let's talk about, we have a new generation of stick crowns.
Yes, and it's the best generation yet.
Yes. I'm also liking I'll hate it when everybody has it, but these like wrestling belts, boxing belts, those big giant belts that people have that are like huge that you just put over their shoulder because you can't actually wear them. Those are being used now, which I think is fun. But Davis of the Aggies, the
UC
school
Davis.
That's really hard to get into with a veterinary college that's world renowned, has a giant,
very solid stick gigantic hat.
Yes.
These are a thing. It's like, I think there's probably a brand name for them, but just a very extremely gigantic baseball hat that I think is a solid, if you're going for pure comedy, putting people, especially small gymnasts, in gigantic articles of clothing is like, that should be number one on the list to go to. It's always funny. It was funny back in the mid 90s when that was the style at the time. And they would give like Shannon Miller and Dominique Moceanu whatever sponsored shirt they were trying, like their McDonald's Texaco t-shirt. And it was so big that it was like it was a dress. It was a maxi dress on the ground when they put on this t-shirt because everything was a double XL. And then you put it on Dominique Moceanu and it's like, it's a tarp, and it was perfect. This is perfect. Always put gymnasts in clothes that are way, way comically too big, and this works perfectly.
Anna Barbosu, Romanian Olympic medalist of the floor bronze medal controversy that has nothing to do with her and nothing to do with Jordan Childs, had to do with the judging, has made her debut, and she made it at Denver, and she was introduced. Now, she's not the first Romanian to make her debut. Lilia Kosman, who's an American Romanian, lives in Michigan and made her debut last week. But this is a momentous occasion because this is the first Romanian Olympic medalist to compete, and European medalist to compete in NCAA. This is a big deal. We have had 100 episodes where we talked about which Romanian Olympians would we want in NCAA back in the day, and which teams would they be on?
It's a really important conversation. We need to have it twice a month.
Yes. So she made her debut. They introduced her as a senior, which I thought was appropriate. They were like,
was that just a mistake, or is she like her eligibility? She's only going to have 1 year.
No, she's not. It's the Stanford thing lists her as a freshman, so
Okay,
she's fine.
God.
I think Denver was just paying their due respect to her qualifications and experience. Yeah.
So, I mean, a favorite thing this week was, first of all, just having her in college gymnastics, but specifically the part in her floor routine. And if you are a visual listener, we have showed it, where she stabs herself in the stomach 3 times and then uses the blood as lipstick and then throws it into a ravine. And that is my interpretation, but also the only possible interpretation that you could have when you watch the stomach stab 3 times and then it's lipstick and then it's gone. And I think the most important question we have this week is this an editorial comment on Romanian gymnastics?
Yes, 100%. Hallie Mazette, her choreographer at Stanford, totally, this is definitely intentional. This is definitely something that when and if she ever wants to go back to an elite, this will translate perfectly for the elite requirements for involvement of all the body parts.
Oh, definitely.
And telling a story.
Lips.
Yes. And I am so glad too that the holding the hand in front of your face is used appropriately here. So many gymnasts do that. It's just like, oh, my hand's in front of my face. It is a mirror. It represents the looking at yourself. And she is reviewing, and she was like, oh, I turned your bullshit into this lipstick I am wearing because they're paying me to go to Stanford, motherfuckers. That's right. Oh, enjoy yourself with your no jobs back at home. Yeah.
I think so. Like, okay, stabbing yourself in the stomach, that's a representation of being in the Romanian gymnastics program. That's
and
obvious.
how she was treated. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then using the blood as the lipstick is Camelia Voinea, because where else is she getting that color?
Right.
This is my assessment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a comment on Camelia Voinea's makeup. That's what that part is. And then she's throwing it away because she's like, I did it. I'm done with that now.
Mm-hmm.
I got through it. That's gone. Now I'm in college.
Yep.
And I got a 9.9 on beam.
Oh.
And,
she's, I mean, this is the thing. We've been talking about how her form is so perfect that she is going to be one of our all-arounders that we're looking at. And especially just like things like bars and beam. I'm just like, oh yeah, like she got a 39.4 this weekend.
And that was without colleging out that many landings or handstands. Like that's the one step. She just has to like college sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Every handstand to be like, you know what's vertical? This. You know what's stuck? This maybe, but I'm going to fake it if it's not.
Yep. I'm just really, especially bars, I'm like, oh, she's going to be one of those ones that gets like, because she doesn't have any deductions. This is the thing.
Yeah. Levi Jung-Ruivavar was also back, competed 3 events, everything but vault, 1 bars from the leadoff position with a 9.875. It was lovely. Toe point. It was great.
Yeah. I also love that Kensley noticed when she was there watching this meet too that that Anna and Levi are very bonded. and really enjoying themselves together. And I like that because remember Levi was when Levi did our live show in December, Anna was going to come on too and join Levi for the live show, but she only had a small window to buy all the gifts for her family because she was going home for a week, which was so glad that she got to go home for a week for Christmas because that is a big flight and a lot of money to get home. So glad. Also, I heard that Anna Barbosu got a perfect score on her TOEFL test, which is the language test.
Test of English as a foreign language. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I call TOEFL. I don't know.
Yeah. I think we said TOEFL.
TOEFL. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this thing, she's still into the anime, which is how she taught herself English, as we know. And she was putting on her Instagram the latest, Japanese series that's out that she's watching now. So she just remains our hero. She's just so great and love the choreography. There was a really scary moment at this meet.
Oh, in the Stanford Denver meet?
Stanford Denver meet.
This was my fun watch of the weekend. I wish it had been more accessible because you had to have a specific subscription to watch the Denver home meet, so no one does it. And I wish more people had seen it. But Summer Gronsky of Stanford vaulted. That was the scariest thing I saw in gymnastics this week. Also, missed both of her hands on her Yurchenko and was somehow able to be fine, but it was scary to look at because she went way over the whole thing.
Yep. Her hands don't touch, or they maybe like the bottom of her or the tops of her fingers slid over the very edge. I mean, it kind of looked like she almost her ponytail.
She blocked full with her ponytail,
yeah,
like that's what I was worried about. I was like, did she just block with her head? Did she
hit her head? Yeah, but it's her ponytail. And luckily she just, I still framed this and it's just her ponytail. She's levitating over the vault with her ponytail touching and her hands are just both still turned over. So her palms are facing her head instead of palms facing out to block. So she didn't even get close to touching the vault. And luckily she just stayed open, stopped her rotation and landed on her back and was totally fine. Didn't put her hands behind her because she's a gymnast and she knows how not to get hurt.
Landed very safely.
Totally safely got up.
As safe as you could be in that situation, I think is what she did. But also, shouldn't this have been a 0?
Yes.
Because she got like a 6.3 and I'm like, no hands, 0.
No, it should 100% be a 0.
It is so obviously it didn't matter. They dropped the score. It was not relevant at all. But I'm like, this is why. What are the rules?
Right.
Are we following?
Hair doesn't count.
Hair is not hands.
Yeah. Of course,
if you take nothing else from this show, hair is not hands.
Of course, we're not sitting as close as the judges, and maybe they saw a fingertip touch, but I just feel like that's not the spirit of the code. The spirit of the code is it's a 0. She did post just a joke about this, and so it's nice that she could laugh about it. I do want to talk about why everyone should be doing gymnastics, even if you're an adult, if you're a kid. I want to give this example of why everyone should do gymnastics. Because every gymnast learns not to put their hands behind them so they fall safely. This ice agent immediately puts his hands behind him. Clearly, he never did gymnastics. This gymnast straddles the beam but lands safely, while this ice agent puts his hand behind him and almost shoots his dick off. So this is the thing. It's gymnasts are trained professionals, and it's almost like these folios in Minnesota are not. Everyone should do gymnastics because it makes everyone safer. And that's today's lesson. Shall we get to some feedback? I
would love to get to some feedback.
You can send us an email at gymcastic@gmail.com or, of course, always on our forum. And let's talk about, this is what I alluded to earlier, the Florida announcing. Ooh.
Okay, gymnastics fan says, are you guys listening to this? So-and-so, Carly Nelson, I think, I don't remember now, had a career-ending injury her sophomore year and was back competing last year for her junior year. What?
That's not what career means.
They both called gymnasts by the wrong name constantly. Said a gymnast hit her handstands, which she obviously didn't. What is going on? Why are they allowed to commentate when they don't know what they're talking about? Sorry to complain to you, but Spencer's blog hasn't had a place for comments since sometime last year, and the live isn't until tomorrow, so you get my venting. Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore.
No one wants to.
Not everyone deserves an opinion.
This is true. Yeah, I was literally writing down the comments because I just kept being like, what? That's not, yeah, it was some of the worst commentating I've heard in a long time. And we've had horrible commentating, which, speaking of which, Ali and John and Sam Pescic, I feel like, got their rhythm down, and this was the best commentating they've all done together. And I really enjoyed their commentary as a group, as a trio, at the Sprouts. Lori Hernandez was there too.
I like what they're I think the difficulty is, like, especially with Sam and Ali, it's like, who's in charge of what? Like, what is your role, and is it the same role in a commentary trio? Because John is like anchoring the broadcast and introducing the names and things like that, and then it's like Sam and Ali kind of are there to do the same role, which is like analyze the routines, but like Sam is more talking about like the mental state, and her like, this is how you hit beam, and be like Sam Pescic, and Ali will bring up some of the deductions more, and I think that's kind of a solid dynamic for them to have, where they have kind of a different purview rather than just kind of alternating saying the same things.
Yeah. Scoring.
They're not the ones I get mad at by any means, because we got some ones I get mad at.
Yes. Okay, scoring tower question.
Daphne says, watching the Sprouts meet right now, UCLA, Utah, LSU, OU, and I feel like the scoring is a little bit more accurate than last season. However, I don't understand the scores in the score tower changing. Do they insert the scores from Judge 1 first and the average score later? So that's in the tower, so the score in the tower changes? Or why do some things change in the tower? For example, Lexi Zeiss's score on beam from 9.7 to something to 9.8. Thanks for all you do. Love from the Netherlands. Yeah, I didn't start at the 9.875. The Lexi Zeiss beam score, which we talked about earlier, was a specific case of changing the score. It was an unusual case. It wasn't what would normally happen. Typically, they'll wait for both judges' scores to come in and then enter that in the graphic.
That's Daphne from the Netherlands, by the way. Yay. I'm so excited for our Netherlands trip. And maybe we'll just stay. Spencer, will you be a beacon of light?
Not if history is any guide. Okay, Aaron says, Dearest Spencer, I was very pleased we got a gif of the amazing can flip and twist and land on a 10-centimeter piece of equipment, Kalia Lincoln tripping, simply stepping onto the podium. But honestly, with the state of the world, I need the comedy that is the weekly gifts post. In these dark days, more than ever, please continue to be a beacon of light and humor with gifts of the week for the 2026 college season. Please and thank you. Hugs, but not physically touching you. There's a lot of peer pressure happening.
I mean, it's almost like people love the GIF posts, Spencer.
Should have read them, because nobody does, and it wasn't worth the time for how few people went to them.
This is the thing. If you want the GIF post, you have to share it with 5 friends. That's how it works. UW parking follow-up.
But also, I kind of burned out with it, is my actual answer.
Right, which is understandable.
I'm going to throw some in. We'll see. I'm not saying it's not a hard no. It's a Simone 2028 now.
Oh.
That's where I am with it.
UW parking follow-up.
Kate says, I do not park at Alaska Airlines Arena. It is the bad place. I am a princess and make my husband drop me off, and then he can go do whatever he wants while I'm at the meet. The one time he came with me to a meet to see Jade Carey, it was our due date with our daughter, and the meet wasn't busy, but I did start having minor contractions when we were walking back to our car, and he complained that I was walking too slowly. So lesson learned, princess treatment forever.
Yeah.
Kate's got it figured out.
Owes you for life.
Kate has life points. Kate's got it figured
out. Yeah. You're walking slowly. He should have carried you to the car. Yes. Okay. Can Al Fong switch affiliations?
Anthony says, question about Al Fong. Can't he just switch his gym affiliation to NGA and continue coaching, just not for the asphalt team?
Yes. This is the NGA, for those who aren't aware. So Al Fong, Olympic coach for USA Gymnastics, owns Gage, and was suspended for past the LA 28 Olympics. And like Nador, Alex Nador, who was a world medalist, and then was SafeSported out of his eligibility to go to another Olympics. His dad started this National Gymnastics Association basically in protest of SafeSport, and it still exists, and they still have meets. That gym right now is being sued because a gymnast asked for a spot, didn't get one, and broke her neck. But yeah, they have never rejoined USA Gymnastics, and you can just have no affiliation. You can go to, NGA, and they can do that right now and keep coaching. There's nothing to stop them. And I think there are other coaches who have done that and switched affiliations. There's other coaches who have gone to another country. I don't think they'll do that because he's old and they have a young daughter. But so finally this week, some news from us at GymCastic. We are leaving Twitter, and we are ceasing all posts and interactions with X, the Twitter platform. We stopped linking to Twitter and took Twitter off of all of our website, our link trees, all of that stuff when the owner, Elon Musk, did the Nazi salute twice. But we have still aggregated news there for a while. But the final straw came because we can no longer, in good conscience, post on a platform that knowingly produces child sexual abuse material known as CSAM. This is not a bug in the Twitter system. This is a feature of it. So we mentioned some of this in the recent fifth rotation column that Fact Checker writes, and the X is currently blaming its users for prompting them in the system, but it's the system itself that is generating the CSAM. So what is really, besides the fact that we don't want to post anything that generates revenue for a system like this or for Elon Musk, if we or anyone, a gymnastics fan, posts a video, a GIF of a gymnast on Twitter, it can then be the platform can then undress that gymnast. And that's disgusting. And we have fought so long to change what the culture of gymnastics and what was being done to gymnasts. And we don't want to participate in anything like this. And Twitter has been bragging about the increase in engagement from the system doing this. Utah Gymnastics has stopped posting on X. And we would encourage other federations and gymnastics teams to do the same, because by doing this, you are feeding a system that can abuse your athletes. So we hope you will reconnect with us elsewhere, including Blue Sky, which is basically the same as Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Threads. We're on TikTok, which I finally recovered our TikTok password. So we are active on the TikToks again. And of course on our website, gymcastic.com, where we have a forum, and so you can find us there. So this week, we will see you for College and Cocktails Friday this week on January 16th. It's at 7:45-ish after we watch the Oklahoma-Missouri meet. And then, of course, remember, we still have our live show replays you can watch. We have the season pass on sale. Be sure to subscribe to us wherever you watch, including YouTube. And remember, we have a fantasy show later this week. So during NCAA season, 3 podcasts per week. And until then, remember to take off on gay, split on rights. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on fantasy and then College and Cocktails later this week. Thanks for listening.